Welcome to the Executive Lounge. I'm Inshira Ado. This is the Business Thought Leadership Program that brings you nuggets of insights from the lives and experiences of men and women who have scaled the daunting heights of starting their business or managing and running businesses across various sectors and at home and around the world. Today, we're joined on the show by a woman who can be described as Superwoman, a woman who walked away from a very well-paying job in the banking sector to become a publisher and doing all sorts in the fashion industry. We're joined by the CEO of Glitz Africa Ghana Limited, Claudia Lumor.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And it's always good to see you.
Thank you.
How's life at Glitz?
Oh, life at Glitz. We're doing well. We have a lot of things happening at the moment, so we have a lot on our table. So, but I suppose everybody has a lot on their table.
That's right.
But yeah,
I'm pretty sure that our audience will be intrigued to learn a lot more about how you became a banker and then walked away from all of that to become a publisher. So let's start off. Tell us a bit about your family.
Oh, my family. Okay, like my parents and So yeah, we have five, including myself. We have 5 siblings.
Okay.
I was living in London for a while, working in banking, and then obviously I got married and I moved back home to Ghana. My parents are all retired now. They're all in Ghana now. And I have some of my siblings here, some of them outside the country as well. Yeah.
So what was it like growing up as a child? What are some of the things that you recall, like the family credos that have shaped who Claudia has become today?
I think for me, my father is a traditional Akan man, who's very tough on us. You can't go out at this time, putting structures in place and all of that. And I think that really helped me because I don't like wasting my time. Like everything that I do, even if you ask me to come out for a drink, I need to justify why I'm going out for that drink. So I'm that sort of person. It's always been like that with me. I'm not that sort of person that would just say, I'm going to my friend's house. I will always ask the question, to do what? So everything needs to make sense to me. And that's how my father was like, even if you're coming downstairs to go and play with your friends, he will ask you all sorts of questions. No, stay upstairs, or you go out for 1 hour, come back in. So every time I had time to it. And my mother is such, an amazing, strong woman. 5 children. I mean, you know how Ghanaian women, African women, how they do it. Honestly, I don't have a clue because bringing up, raising 5 kids and what she's done with all of us, I mean, it's amazing. So I've learned all of these things, and she was still very prayerful, very strong woman. So I think I've learned that. I mean, I'm using that as a mother now. I mean, I have 3 kids myself, so everything that I saw that woman doing, I'm trying. I don't think I can ever be like her in terms of how strong and how, she was bringing up kids, her teenage years and all, but I'm doing my best, and I think I've picked a lot of things from them. Yeah.
Apart from being prayerful and having the sense of priority as a child, what else do you think from your external environment shaped your personality today?
I think, now it's not so much like that now. When we're growing up, like, you're not just your mother and your father's child. There are other people, whether your neighbor, that everybody's looking out for you, everybody's advising you, people look out for each other. And I think that sense of, wanting to make sure you are a good child, not just for your parents, but your parents' friends and other people will see you and be proud of you, sort of like shaped that as well. I mean, now it's not so much like that. I mean, now nobody dare say something to somebody's child, but before it wasn't like that. And I think those kind of, our tradition and culture growing up, things like that really helped, I think, me, yeah.
So you graduated from, you have first degree in economics, and then you did an LLM in international financial law.
Yeah.
Then went into banking.
Yeah.
What was it like you know, your early years in banking?
It was amazing because it was my dream job, because I'm not one of these people that say that I always wanted to be a publisher or do what I'm doing. No clue like that. I always wanted to be in banking, in finance, or do law. So even when I was after school in London, I went back into banking thinking that I'm going to gather all the experience I can get in the UK, move to Ghana and be this big top corporate, you know, banking executive. So that's always been my thing. So it was amazing for me, and I did really well. I mean, within 6 months, I moved from being a savings specialist to like a bigger role and being a region, in charge of a region, you know, as a financial and savings specialist. So it was really good for me. And at a point, I was very proud as well. I was always wearing my name badge boldly, a Ghanaian, because people coming in like, okay, and I was the only black girl, most of the branches that I was working. So it was a really good experience for me. You know, I learned a lot, and well, yeah, I ended up what I'm doing now, but it was a really good experience for me, yeah.
Now, looking back at that experience, if you'd compare that to, obviously, in that role, as you graduated, you would have had people who were supporting you to achieve your targets. Similarly, you have people who work with you here.
Yeah.
How do you compare the two different cultures and the drive to achieve a specific goal?
You know what, I think it's a little bit challenging because the way we were brought up in terms of corporate-wise and working in the UK is totally different from what I experienced here. In fact, starting a business, if I'm being very honest with myself, it's always been one of my biggest challenge, bringing team together, bringing people together, because I am an extremely proactive person, and I struggle not having people who are proactive around me. I can't micromanage people, and also I'm used to just working, you know, setting target for myself for the day and working and crossing them out. You will find me, I'm not the sort of person that you find me going for lunch and sitting for lunch 1 hour. Oh, it's lunchtime. I don't know how to do that. I have my sandwich, I have my coffee by my desk, and I get the job done. Whereas when I came in, it was a shock to me, because here it can be a bit different. People can go away from their desk for an hour or an hour and a half, just having lunch, and they can forget about the job for an hour and a half, you know. And sometimes also trying to get people who are proactive and very passionate about their jobs and contributing. You know, people are used to, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, because people are used to being told what to do in companies, and they want to, even though they can do it, they still want the boss to come and tell them do A, B, C, D. And the team that I've managed to, you know, grow and develop till now, I always want to empower them, because I tell them, I don't know everything, number one. I think you're good enough, that's why I brought you to the table. So you need to contribute. And even if they come to me with like a problem, I'm always like, give me the solution. You don't come to me with the problem. Before you come to me with the problem, you need to make sure you have two solutions, potential solutions for us to pick from. So it's like pushing people to know that they can do that, they're good, make them think and make them wanting to contribute or bring something to the table. I think that's what is missing a little bit here, because people are used to being told what to do and not.
You did mention though that you've grown the team to a point, and truth be told, Glitz hasn't folded. You're still pushing and chugging along. So you're doing some things right, albeit maybe difficult. How have you been able to empower the people around you to be able to buy into the vision and also keep pushing and hopefully in the process become more proactive?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I believe in them, you know, and I allow them to also know themselves and believe in themselves, you know. So it's one of the things I mentioned, that pushing them to, you know, come up with solutions to things. And sometimes there's some things that I can do myself, but I intentionally push it to them. I said, you know what, come up with a business plan for this thing. Let's go and present it to this client. Sometimes they've never done it before. And I'm like, yeah, you have a first degree, right? That's what they do. So I push them, like I throw them into, you know, and sometimes I can see their faces like, oh my God. But, you know, I just enjoy doing that to them. And then afterwards, when they come, I give you, you know, we all look through it and we all come, you know, I like making them feel that they are, you know, they are solving the solution themselves. And I am only there to guide them. And in that sense, even if I'm not there, they are strong enough to represent me or to go and see any client or do things on their own without Claudia being there. And I think that's the kind of leadership I want to give to them. And I tell them as well that if you leave Glitz, I want you to become, you know, not just the way you came in. I want to see you doing well, and I want to be very proud of what you've done. So I don't want you to just be here and just be here. You need to be here, because you know you are contributing to what we're doing. And I tell them as well that I want to work with entrepreneurs. So you know, being an entrepreneur doesn't mean you have to set a business by yourself. I want to work with entrepreneurs, people who want to have their own set of mind, who are passionate, who are focused, who want to go out there and get things done. So are you an entrepreneur? Because I want to work with entrepreneurs. So that's the kind of energy and spirit that I bring among them, and I push them. And I think, you know, we're not doing bad. I mean, they're really getting the message, and they're trying.
That's good, right? So these are people who, for the lack of a better expression, you get the hardware, and you go about installing your software of proactivity, prioritization, and things like that. What do you look for in the people you bring to the table, especially considering what you do being in the creative space? You know, it's always very difficult to be able to measure a creative person's ability until you've given them an opportunity. So how do you take chance and do it calculated?
I think when I'm talking to people, and I think the thing too is to be an entrepreneur as well, sometimes you work with your instincts a lot. You know, you need to allow your instinct to sometimes lead you, and trust the instinct, trust your instincts and what you're thinking. So for me as well, sometimes when I'm speaking to them, I'm looking for somebody who can be proactive, you know, in terms of the way I'm asking you a question, and I want to see your vision and how passionate you are about, you know, what you want to do. I'm not looking for somebody who's coming and saying, oh yeah, I'm so good at this, I've got this figured out. Then I have a problem, because you really don't know the culture of this business. So you can come in with that kind of thinking that, oh, I'm so good, I've got this, then I worry a little bit about you. I also, it's okay to see a little bit vulnerability there, because then you are ready to learn, you're ready to be better, you know, but I still want to see the potential. I want to see somebody who is passionate, and I want to see somebody who wants to be part of something amazing, because I call them Team A, and I call them, you know, I walk into the office and I'm like, Team Amazing, are you ready for today? Because we don't take last in this office. So that's my energy, that's my spirit, and I'm like, if you want to be part of the people at the bottom, then you are not for me. You know, we go out there, we run it, we work hard, and we get the job done. Right. You know, so there's no excuses here, and this is what we do. And are you ready to jump on this boat, or I'm sorry, you know, then you have to find something else to do. So,
how different is Claudia, the publisher, entrepreneur, and Claudia, the, you know, senior savings specialist?
There's not much difference, to be quite honest, because people that have worked with me in London, my bosses will tell you that you give me one and I'll do one, and I'll give you options for two, and maybe come to you with, what do you think, boss, about three? So it's always, I've always been like that. One thing that I know I have is being proactive. I'm extremely proactive. I'll give that to myself. So I'm always looking for solution. I'm always looking out for the next step. I'm always looking at, I'm my worst own critic. Like, I'm never, it's like, I always feel like I can do more, I can do better. And I want to come to the table with the, you know, the solution, and also provide other stuff as well. So I think it's the same thing that's driving me still. So it's not much difference. I mean, I think the only difference is that somebody was paying me every month to do the job I'm doing. Now I'm not being paid every month to do what I'm doing. So I need to make sure I'm earning the money to be able to pay other people every month, and then get some for myself.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's proactivity certainly is something that you work around and work with. We'll learn a little more about why the shift, what prompted that shift from a steady banking job and going into publishing and this high-octane environment of fashion. We're going to take a break, and when we come back from that break, you'll hear more from Claudia Lumor, CEO of Glitz Africa. Welcome back. This is the Executive Lounge with me, Inshirado, and my guest today, Claudia Lumor. She's been telling us a lot about how important it is to be proactive and inspiring the people around you to believe in themselves, discover their own abilities, and be able to push your vision to the next level. But here's what we'd like to find out. Claudia, you were in banking, you rose through the ranks, and then suddenly you're like, okay, that's it. I'm coming to Ghana to start Glitz Africa. Why did you make that decision? What prompted that decision?
Yeah, so when I was moving to Ghana, I wasn't moving to Ghana to start this. I was moving to Ghana because I got married and I just wanted to move back home to start a family.
Oh, so you found love
So,
and you moved back.
yeah,
Okay.
so I moved back and then I got a job in banking as well when I moved back.
Right.
But within the year that I was with the bank in Ghana, I was starting a family. I actually never thought I'd work for myself. I always thought I'd work for somebody, but I wanted to, you know, go through the process, and I was seeing myself, you know, one day being a top banking executive. But when I was there and I was starting a family, me and my husband used to talk, and he would sometimes be, oh, so what do you miss abroad that you think you can maybe bring it here? Have you done that kind of research and things? And I always loved magazines, and I'm one of these people that will say, oh, are you traveling? Can you get me Vogue? Can you get me OK? Can you get me, you know? And I feel like there are a couple of people who are either living here or moved back home, and they want that as well. You know, the men get me the GQ, and I just felt like, why don't we have these kind of magazines? One, that's one of them, and then second, to the ones that I was finding here, I didn't feel like it was telling the stories in a very nice or in a very appealing way. You know, I feel like we're not telling our African stories. Our celebrities are icon, people that are very successful, who is telling their story the way they want it to be told, you know. So then I did my, you know, a lot of research about it. I schooled myself. I didn't do publishing or anything like that. I'm not a journalist. I'm not the editor. English is not really my first kind of best language anyway. But yeah, so I did a lot of research, and then I also realized that it's very capital intensive to set up a publication. But, you know, I'm not, and I say this all the time, I'm not in competition with anybody. When I want to do something, I take my time, I run my own pace. And within like 2 years, I was able to start the business, starting up the magazine. People thought it was a joke. People like, Ghanaians don't read. And I was like, well, guess what? People don't read everywhere. It's not just Ghanaians don't read. But magazine is something that people keep. They go back to it. They come, you know, put it down, go back to it. People move homes with magazines, countries with magazines. And it's still, you know, something that I pursued. And then through the magazine, I found, you know, I was able to develop into other brand extensions as well. So that's how it started. It wasn't like, you know, it was just my passion for wanting to tell good stories when I decided that I wanted to do the magazine. And then I felt like, you know, there was a gap, and I turned something I love into a business.
Wow. You first saw a gap,
yeah,
and then it had to do with something that you were passionate about.
Yeah.
Would you have done this if you weren't passionate about it?
I don't think so. Not at all.
How important is passionate for you?
I think to jump into a business like this, you need to be passionate about it, because some people walk up to me and say, oh, we want to start a magazine, or we started a magazine, it's lucrative. And sometimes I look at these young people and I'm like, well, it depends on what you mean by lucrative and what you are expecting out of this. Because if it was just how much money I'm going to earn at the end of the month, I wouldn't have done this, because I put in everything. I put in a lot of money to set this right, and I want to be able to do it right as well. So putting the team together, the content together, where to print them, how to market, and it costs a lot of money. And if it wasn't for the love for what I really wanted to achieve, and I probably wouldn't be doing this still. So I think being passionate about what you want to do is very important. But passion alone won't take you there as well. You need to really study about it, know about it, ask questions, bring in the expert. Don't pretend to be the god of everything, you know. And that's one thing. When I was pulling my team together, I told them, I'm not coming in to say I've got this figured out. You know, I'm coming in and let's all try and figure this thing out, and let's do a good job at this, that we can go to bed knowing that we've given our best to Ghanaians. And that's what we've been doing from day one.
So you had a vision, you had a plan. It was going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Did it scare you?
Scared is not part of what I'm made of, to be quite honest with you. Things doesn't scare me like that. I think, you know what, probably that's the entrepreneurship thing in me, and I'm very stubborn. You know, when I want to do something and you tell me that, oh, you can't afford this, oh, it's too expensive, that's the more reason why I will find the money to do it.
When they say you can't, that's when you give them a reason, right?
You know, yeah, Claudia needs to tell Claudia that I can't do it. If not, I only listen. I'm very sorry, but I only listen to that inner voice. I said, like, aside God, I only listen to myself. I need to convince myself. You tell me, I'll take it, but I need to take that and use it to convince myself. If not, I'll still do it.
Okay. A lot of people talk about, starting their own businesses and going into new spaces.
Yeah.
And quite often, the first thing they talk about is, it costs money to do this. And so they have brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
How do you, in spite of knowing fully well that you don't have everything it takes to do it, to venture into a space that will cost you money at the time that you don't have it?
Because the thing is, people, most young people or people, when we are starting a business, we want every part of the business to be figured out. You can't do that. I started a business from my home. I had one graphic designer. He was working. I couldn't even afford to hire him full time. So he was doing his own work, like 9 to 5, and then we'll meet 7 to 9. And we will meet in my house, we'll do the work, or we'll meet after church on Sunday.
Wow.
And then when I want to meet a client, I will meet the client in my husband's office. Then I didn't have an office. All I would do lunch, it would cost me a little bit more having lunch with the client because
but at least you didn't have a monthly rent to pay,
you
right?
see? So I'd rather take you out, buy some sandwich or coffee or tea, and then we'll have the meeting. So that's how I was doing it. And for 2 years, I didn't have an office. And I brought out four issues without having an office. And with one graphic designer, me being the creative director, being the salesperson, and one national service girl to help me out.
Wow.
So people were seeing glitz, but it was only 3 of us with no office. So I feel like sometimes when we are setting up or we are jumping into something, we want the office ready. We want probably the office car ready. We want everything ready. No, it doesn't work like that. I feel like, and I was even doing this not knowing how it's going to turn out, but I just wanted to try it, and one step at a time, you find other opportunities as well. Now people come up to me and say, Claudia, can you organize our event for us? I didn't even think that's something that I would do. But now with what we do with the event, people see what we do. They want the same thing. So the opportunities will even come your way that you've not even planned or thought about it. So I think it's just, the vision and believing in what we're doing and not being too, from the beginning. It's expensive because you factor everything into it. Just use what you have. There's so many people in the fashion industry that they started their businesses, they're around with 100 Ghana cedi. They told me, they're like, we bought one fabric and we made some beads and we made some, and we sold it online. And then we started it and now they're doing very well, employing like 20 tailors. So I think it's just how we go about businesses, see that straight away our first thing is to go and get a loan from a bank, or that's the first thing that comes to our minds. Why don't you save money? If it takes you 2 years to save a little bit of money to start it, then you have saved some money to start it. So it's all about...
So start off with a big vision, but execute it in bits.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, that's brilliant. So 3 people started for 2 years and churned out 4 editions of the Glitz magazine. Now, over that 2-year period, I'm sure there were moments where you would think that, oh, this is too hard, I can't go any further. How did you get over those hurdles?
Even still now, I still go through them like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? But, I think, I don't even know how to, it's just myself, I speak to myself a lot. I pray a lot, and I believe in what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not there yet when Claudia's telling Claudia that you can't do this, So at the moment, Claudia's telling Claudia that you still got this and you can still do it. It's hard, but guess what? It's hard everywhere. If my mom sometimes say if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? So know from the beginning that it's going to be hard. And, I also have good people around me that when it's really tough, or sometimes I need advice and things, I go up to them and say, well, this is my challenge. What do you think? And, having few people like that you trust, that that they will tell you, give you the feedback as it is. I actually don't do well with very good feedback. I like people who will tell me that, this was really bad, Claudia. You can do better than this. What was this about? I like people who give it to me like that. I actually go to people who give me the worst, criticize me. I don't like going to people who obviously will tell you, oh, amazing. Because the moment you tell me amazing, I don't know, for some reason, I think it's not amazing.
Wow. So you prefer feedback that will help you do better?
Yes, constructive ones. People who tell you, I think this is, you should maybe try this way. Why didn't you try this way? Or go and research, go and do more work about this. They will just tell you as it is.
Where did that part of you come from?
I don't know.
It's not, and I ask that because it's not easy for people to kind of, feedback sometimes is misconstrued as, you know, bashing, and it's not easy. Yeah,
it's not, but maybe my dad, I mean, thinking about it a bit, because my dad is like that. He's very tough, you know, it's very hard to please him when we're growing up, you know, so maybe that's where it was coming from. I just feel like I really need to do more to please, you know, him and myself. And yeah, I think, and also I believe in Joy is also knowing how capable, you know, what you're capable of, you know, and knowing that you can do this, you know, you really can do this. And people just want to hear the good, you know, the good part. Or people will come to Glitz event and, oh, it's amazing. But my team will tell you that when everybody is celebrating a Glitz event, thinking that it's the best, amazing, I'm going around and I'm asking them, what are we missing?
Wow.
That's what I ask. They'll tell you now. I'm not saying, you know, until like, and I'll never even, not even a glass of water. I'm like, I'm going around and I'll go to technical bench. I'm like, what are we missing? What's missing? What's missing on the stage? What's like, I'm always looking for, what are we not fixing? It's not so much about how amazing this is. I just feel like we can do better. Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Now, it's an intriguing story so far. The ability to talk to yourself and be able to say, look, I could do better than I have done on this last project. And also being able to say, well, the hurdles are there, but I'm still going to work at getting over them and going forward. Now, you then went from the magazine to all these spin-offs. There's the Fashion Week. There was the recent
Woman
of the Year Awards. And I'm sure there's 1,000,001 more being thought up at this moment. What makes you, how do you see the extensions and bring them to fruition?
Yeah, I think, you know, every part of the extension is very true to what, you know, I believed in from day one. I believe so much in young people and, you know, their vision and being aspirational and achieving and going for it. And I think that's what Fashion Week set out for, because I'm in fashion, lifestyle, premium, and, you know, industry, and I mentor a lot of people in the fashion industry, whether I like it or not. And I think that's what Fashion Week is meant to do for the fashion industry, because the young people who set up, 90% of people who come to Fashion Week are, you know, young businesses, young fashion businesses, photographers. It's an industry that's very much growing, and it needs platform like that to be able to do better and to compete with each other and network and grow and be better. So I think that served that purpose for me. And also Ghana Women of the Year honors is very personal to me as well, because it's such an inspirational platform. Because I say it all the time that since I came back home, I've become much more stronger woman than I used to be. And it's probably also because I've had the opportunity to meet a very inspirational woman. You know, it's all nice, you know, being inspired by, you know, Oprah or, you know, the big people of this world, but we have our own kind of Oprahs in Ghana that people probably, because it's maybe not well documented, we don't know about these things, these women. And I've had the opportunity through the magazine to interview and to talk to some of these women, and I wanted to set something like that up. The women can come together, tell stories of other women who are doing very well. And so that part, you know, trying to inspire younger women to let them know that we have no excuse now. You can't say that because I had a family, because I was a single mother, because I was this, I couldn't do this. There's so many of them doing very well. So what's your excuse now? So that's feed that, and that gives me so much joy. So it's different kind of thing. And also we have Style Awards as well, which I also feel like branding yourself, you know, just having a talent sometimes is not just enough. You know, there will be other people that probably speak like Inshira, by why it's multimedia and Joy FM investing in you, because it's not just about your voice, how you look, how you speak, everything. You walk into a room and the brand, you carry the brand with you. So I also wanted celebrities and personalities to understand that how you look and how you present yourself is all part of being successful. And people that look up to you, they're looking up to you, how you're looking, you know, how you present yourself as well. So I wanted us to set something up that will push them a little bit to be aware of how we look as well as a brand, whether you like it or not. It's a brand. So yeah,
I see. Didn't realize that.
Yeah, so whether we like it or whether you like like it or not.
Yeah.
Once there are some platforms that once you step onto them, you become an inspiration. You become an icon. People look up to you, whether you know it or you accept it or not. So I think all of these extension feeds to something that is very, I'm very passionate about, and I feel like it's helping people in the country. Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. I have a feeling there might be a style school very soon. I don't know. We're going to take a final break, and when we come back, we'll learn more about Claudia and get to find out what she does. She seems to work too hard. Find out that she lets her hair down every once in a while. This is the Executive Lounge. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, and we've been having a ball, learning so much from CEO of Glitz Africa, Claudia Lumor. Now, Claudia, you talked about how you created the spin-offs, and it sort of feeds into the core of what you do and what you believe in. When you were starting, you talked to people who said, oh, people don't read, people don't like magazines, but then your magazine has thrived.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of style and fashion and premium lifestyle publication?
Do you know what? It's only the beginning for us. I think there's so much opportunity out there. People or Ghanaians urbanize. The middle class in Ghana is growing so much. People are becoming aware what they wear, where they live, what kind of car, even what kind of phone gadget they use. So the middle class, you can't deny this, in Ghana is growing so much. We're becoming very aware of ourselves, where we want to be in future, even where to say, have a drink with your girlfriend or your wife. So I think there's a huge opportunity for this. And the sky is the limit, I think, but there's a huge opportunity out there for
Now, how important is the growth and penetration of social media to the growth of the fashion industry as well as the lifestyle space?
I think social media is huge now. I mean, now if you're a business and you don't have a social media, then you're probably, we're going to leave you behind in the next 5 years or 3 years. So it has huge influence on what is happening in Ghana and what's happening around the world. Believe it or not, social media is also helping the outside world to be influenced by what we're doing in Africa. Because now, big brands outside now are doing ahinema and putting them in their collection. Where did they see that?
Amazed. $1,300 for ahinema.
So they're being influenced by us, what we're doing here, and we are also being influenced by what they're doing. So I think social media world now is never going to change. It's going to get, it's even going to be bigger than this. So if you're a business or if you're a brand, what you do is just you need to be following and be thinking about that in the next 5 years, our businesses are going to change. Digital marketing is probably going to be the next thing in 5 years. So where do you also move your business along with that to make sure that the world don't leave you behind? So I think it has such huge influence with everything that we do. Even in the fashion industry, it's influenced them a lot because they need to follow. They look at what is happening in terms of season, in terms of trends that is happening around the world and other platforms. And that's also why the Fashion Week platform is important, because it helps them with trends, with colors, and all of these things to help with their creativity and what you're trying to create. So you can't deny, the influence of digital social media too.
Are young entrepreneurs in the fashion industry appreciative of this potential, and are they using it to its fullest effect?
I think so. It's totally, because most of the industry entrepreneurs, and especially in the fashion industry or premium lifestyle, they're starting with little or no money. So the only way they can, promote their businesses is on social media. And the industry is full of models, photographer, makeup, hair, fashion designers, all of these people. Where do they advertise? How do people know about them? Their business is on social media. 100% is on social media. That's the only way they get their referrals. That's the only way people get to know about them and call them and get business. So it's huge. It's a bigger part of what they do. So yeah, definitely, yeah.
So it becomes a very pivotal part of the business, and being able to reach out to people, expose yourself to the world.
Especially in the fashion industry, I think it's everything.
We caught up with globalization then.
Oh yeah.
I got the sense that you consider yourself or you could be likened to some sort of a bridge, because you find yourself in a place where, because of what you do, you're able to meet people who inspire you. And you also mentioned that you mentor quite a number of people.
Yeah.
How important is it for you to be able to take from the forebears and then be able to bring these people who are behind you up?
It means everything to me, Insha. You have no idea when I say talking about it now, I'm getting, you know, when I'm at Women of the Year Awards, that platform is everything to me. And, you know, seeing people coming out, and even men saying that they won't leave the place, or they're not going to leave the place the same, or they didn't leave the place as the same as they came in, means everything to me. And it's the same thing, because I even set up like a small quarterly networking that we call it She Boss. So basically it's the same thing that's driving me, that we bring in women from different industries to come and talk to young ladies, young entrepreneurs, or young executives in businesses who are going to be the next 5 years, they're going to be the next female MDs. So we bring in the MDs to talk to them how they are, how they've been able to go through the ladder to be where they are. So empowering women, especially, I mean, people say everything is she, but we can't deny it. Like men, the opportunities are there. Sometimes it's easier being a man than to being a woman in this part of our world.
I think it's easier being a woman than being a man, but then again, I'll never know.
Well, so yeah, so I think, you know, we still, you know, society is still going for, you know, the man, you know, is the leader or is the man of the house thing. And sometimes if you're not lucky and you don't end up in a family that, you know, telling you that, yeah, you're the woman, but you have the same access as your big brother or your younger brother, then we become a little bit, you know, intimidated and very, you know, not believing in what we can do. So I think these kind of platforms, you know, Isha, means everything to me, seeing this young women networking. And also in Ghana as well, quickly, let me say as well that we had this thing that women are our own enemies. I don't even know if it's Ghana, probably globally.
No, yeah,
but it's
interesting perception.
Yeah, and when I moved back, I got a piece of that as well, because people kept saying that, oh, Claudia, you have to be careful, not all these women, they, you know. But I don't, like, I have this, you know, I feel like, why that energy though? You know, women, when we sit together, we're so powerful. So why do we need to be against each other? And that's what I wanted to hopefully preach, that, you know, we can be, all can be beautiful, we can all be powerful, we can all have business, we can all have the men, we can all have the, you know, sit down, have a couple of wine, celebrate each other. If I'm bigger and you've been able to lose the weight, show me how you did it. You know, why can't we support each other? You know, I have kids, you don't have it, I want to have kids. Or how you doing, how you know, breastfeed, like anything that women talk about. To, you know,
there's a whole kind of iron sharpening iron.
Yeah, definitely,
than, you know,
instead of, so
apart.
I'm very passionate about things like that.
I can tell you are quite expressing that passion in your delivery. You know, you have 3 kids now.
Yes.
You wanted to be able to raise a family, have time on your hands.
Yes.
I doubt you do have that time now. How are you coping, you know, with what are the things that, you know, would-be entrepreneurs like you out there need to learn so that they can balance raising a family and still being, you know, top flight entrepreneurs?
I think the thing for me is time. You know, we need to be very aware of our time. And I think I said this from the beginning, it's always been part of me. Everything I do need to make sense to me. So I'm not the sort of person, you know, sometimes people, and I did this lecture at an entrepreneurship class, and I was telling them that we want to be the entrepreneurs, but we also want to be the people that go out every Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. Something has to give, you understand? So sometimes you have to be in the office till 12, but you know what you're trying to achieve. You know, there are times that your friends are going to have the drinks. It's fine, be there in the office, work, do the research. You know, you can't want to have this life and still be, you know, something, you know. So I think that's what I learned this very quickly. And I'm not also, you know, an out there person who will always want to be out. You know, I have my family, weekends are everything to me. If I have to come out on a weekend, then it really needs to be something that, you know, again, makes sense. But I really, both me and my family, like the kids, we all look forward to weekends, because that's the time for us. Also, the thing that working for myself is allowing me to do is to also manage my time very well. So I know that, okay, in the morning I can spend maybe an hour with the kids, take them to school or help them get ready. So I don't need to rush out unless maybe a client really needs me to be there very early. So it's just managing my time very well. And also aside that as well, believing in the people, having good people around you is important. You know, you need to trust people around you, have people that you can trust. I think is a better way to put it. And I do have that. I'm very lucky. I don't know, I don't want, you know, like being too big and using blessed, but I feel very lucky in that respect because I have very good people around me in the house that I can trust them that when I'm not at home, they are with my kids and making sure the kids are doing very well. My husband too is very supportive. We support each other. So if he needs to stay home with the nanny and with my mommy or somebody to look after the kids for me to, you know, travel for a week or two, we know how to work these things out to make sure the kids don't feel the gap.
I guess you both run your own business.
Yes, he does as well. So yeah, so we want to, and when we have breaks, I make sure we take the kids for holidays. So they look, you know, they look forward to all of these things because they ask questions. I mean, my son one day told me, "Do you have to go again on a Saturday?" He said, "Not all my friends," or he said, my friend's father or something like that, they don't all work on a Saturday. I said, well, some days mommy have to go on a Saturday, but that's also the reason why mommy can take you to Disney. That's also the reason why mommy can buy you these toys. So sometimes you have to sit them down, but you don't want them to feel the gap. You don't want them to feel like you're doing anything that is not meant to be, you know, you're not meant to be doing.
So, you've talked about Claudia being hardworking, Claudia telling Claudia that you can do it and you keep pushing forward. Somewhere along the line, you're falling flat on your face, maybe once or twice. Can you recall some, and what lessons did that give you to be able to keep pushing?
I think the biggest challenge is business, corporate-wise. You know, sometimes it really gives you a kick, you know. You spend all night putting proposals together as an entrepreneur. You believe in what you're trying to do. You stand up in front of board meetings and pitch the ideas. And, you know, they will sit there, they will listen to you. You'll pitch everything and tell you, I'm sorry, we don't do fashion. So why was I invited here? So sometimes you feel like kicking the door when you're leaving. Yeah. But I think, you know, you just need to quickly come out from that. And, you know, sometimes my thing is, I'm not the one losing. You will find out that, you know, you are losing. Maybe not now, but in a year or two, you find out you come looking for me. In my head, that is what I won't tell them. But in my head, that's what I take out from that. And I also, before I leave every meeting, I always put that word thought in your head that you remember me. That, you know, you're making a mistake. I think you're making a mistake with this because I research before I go and see every client. So most of the time before I'm there, I know exactly what your brand is doing, what you've done before, you know, all of these things. I'm able to pitch well. So I think in the business sense, sometimes you get that, you know, oh my God, I did all this work and they are not even seeing this or they can't appreciate this. So that really is, you know, the downside. But you need to come out from this because then what are you going to do? Are you going to say because of that I'm not going to do this again? No, there are few that listen, and that's why, you know, you appreciate, you know, the few companies that understand what we're trying to do. You know, fashion is huge. It's #2 biggest employer in America aside Wall Street, and they make millions of money from, you know, the industry. And even in Ghana, we have doctors and architects that are now becoming fashion designers and becoming photographers and all of that. So there's something happening in the economy. And most of them are employing 20 tailors, 30 tailors. And if we put them together, that's a huge number of families they're feeding. So it's a huge industry, and it's a shame that some of the companies or some people still don't see that as serious. So, I mean, that's what I keep preaching, and hopefully, you know, we'll come around.
You never know, that revolution might come full circle. But it's, I must say, it's been fantastic talking to you, and it's just just breezed by so quickly. The 5 things that I always take away from a conversation, and from this episode, number 1 for me is that you must believe in yourself. Believe in who you are, your abilities, and don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. If anyone's going to tell you you can't do it, it either has to be God or yourself. Outside of those two, nothing should stop you. Number 2 is that it's important that you're putting the right people around you. Have the right people, but more importantly, empower them so they know how special they are, how strong they are, how good they are, and so they can complement and take the vision to the next step. And then the 3rd, prioritize. If you have to do something, ask yourself, what's in it for me? You know, that party, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you can't be an entrepreneur and be everything else, you know, so something has got to give, as you said. And then the 4th thing I find is that always remember where you've come from,
Yeah.
and let your successes,
Yeah.
you know, push you to go forward,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. And the final thing,
Yeah.
preparation,
Yes.
because you talked about how you
Yeah.
research before
Yeah.
you entered the industry,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
research before you go to a client to present.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself, find the right people, empower them, prioritize,
Yeah.
and also learn more from where you've come from and enjoy the journey. And finally, make sure that you're always prepared. So it's been great having you, Claudia.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And to you, our viewers and our audience, we're grateful for your time. And if you just joined us midstream, you can catch this on the repeat tomorrow, or you can check out the YouTube channel. And my name is Inshirado. As I always say, go forward, make rain. Shalom. See you again.